When did you realize you might have very bad anger issues? I was 12. I have a foreign name, and a kid used to bully me relentlessly about it. One day, I snapped and kicked in his front teeth. That wasn't the moment. Years later, my family moved to a new city, and I met a whole new group of bullies. I would eventually attack one again. What finally clued me in was the third incident in high school, when I had a growth spurt over the summer and was looking forward to hurting my bullies that I thought I might have a problem. That being said, nothing stops bullying like violence 1010 would recommend. When I found myself wanting to punch my colleagues in the throat when they were obnoxious, I can handle incompetence, but incompetence paired with an utter refusal to accept responsibility makes me see red. I'm a woman, so it's really not expected of us. I've since resorted to signing the person up for spam emails until I calm down. Usually takes about 15 minutes of signing them up for shite, and I can finally look them in the eye without feeling the urge to leap over my desk and take them down. When I grew the emotional maturity to realize that a lot of times I felt severely wronged, it was part of a trauma response. I've worked hard on becoming able to separate acting versus reacting, and especially conscious, analyzing and emotion control has gotten me so far that I can be very angry and speak calmly about what I need and be fair and not just react in the moment. That took time and a lot of effort on my part, and a partner who is very empathetic and clever. Early 20s. One scenario that I still have issues with is people in the store, for example, who get too close. My immediate reaction is to throw an elbow. Never have and always realize it's my anger. But at the same time, why be that fucking close to a stranger? Like less than a foot away. Just fucking standing. Always men. The fact my immediate response is violence is a clear indication my anger can get out of control if I'm not careful. I come from violence, both genetically and experience-wise. The old man had anger issues. The old man's old man had anger issues, etc. We're a big bunch to all over 6 feet, and either tradies or career military. There are times I think it's defeated, then I have a meltdown and destroy my own shop. It'll always be there. So my goal has shifted from trying to make the angry go away to making sure it only affects me. Not me and mine. Just me. I told a person I was dating when I was younger to just fucking stop when I heard them sobbing. We had been great to that point, and we were both having separate moments at that time, and instead of asking what was going on, I was stuck in my own head and felt like my right to peace was more important. Honestly, this wasn't the first or last time I recognized my issues, but it's one of the ones I regret to this day. When having to interact with anyone at all for any reason made my blood literally boil. Had a hard life. Realized I had viewed myself as a victim I not and became really bitter. Woke up angry every day. Took 2 months off work bartender to just rest completely and do things I liked. Still a work in progress. But I am back to a good baseline and more content and grateful. Me, I don't really get angry. My therapist let us stop there. You get very angry and all the time. Me, no. Therapist, think about it. And we will get back to this during the next session. Then I realized I have a very bad temper and I am 100 always fucking angry. Good times. Edit, like the smallest, simplest things piss me off so bad. When I was cut off while driving and immediately wanted to hurt myself, even though I'd done nothing wrong at all, and it was entirely the other person's fault. That made a light bulb go off. I realized I had issues feeling like I wasn't allowed to be angry and would turn it all inwards before even realizing I was angry at something else. Someone flipped me the bird after I overtook someone and cut into lane, so the oncoming car almost caught me. I turned my car around, caught them, and tried to get them to pull over. They had a better, faster car than me and sped off. 2 days later, had police turn up to my work and give me a warning. I was sent to 6 months of therapy. 2 incidents: slammed my phone against the wall and left a dent, and slammed my phone on the ground so hard it stopped working completely. And I had to walk to the cricket store to get a replacement because I needed a phone for work. Cut off birth control after those incidents. And I'm still a hothead, but not to that extent. When I would verbally snap at my ex-GF, we both argued a lot. I'm normally a timid guy, But when pissed off, my voice raises to an intimidating level. I started to work on it when she told me it scared her when I did that. I inherited my dad's temper, but like with him, it improves with age. I realized my anger's a problem when I realized that I'm so used to being angry my entire life that I can no longer truly get mad at anything. Maybe this prevents me from doing things I might regret, but I'm not exaggerating when I say I am in a state of constant rage deep inside myself. Running out of insults to call the barely sentient dildo, and self-harming enough that I drew blood and was just lying on the floor of the DMV family restroom in pain after failing a driver's test. When my dad, who has very similar anger issues, was diagnosed with bipolar, I then looked at how I dealt with my own temper and saw that it wasn't normal. That year I started therapy and soon I had my own diagnosis. 20 years later, we are both much more in control. Sadly, it's because I've passed them on to my 4-year-old son. Poor little dude loses his mind when his Legos aren't doing what he wants them to. Because his little mannerisms, etc., are so similar to me, it really brings home that it's learned behavior from me. I have the opposite problem. Sometimes in life you do need to get angry about things, and it's healthy. I seem to have such a severe problem with anxiety that I can't actually get angry. Just scared. It's like someone took the fight out of my fight or flight. I don't remember the first time, but it's a real problem for me. I've learned to deal with it after lots of therapy. If you have anger issues, please seek help. I wish I'd done it sooner before I destroyed important relationships that aren't fixable now. Physical pain. I was sitting in my room playing video games, absolutely raging because I was bad and my chest started hurting. It was such a surprise that I spent time to stop and think about what I was doing and why I was reacting in such a way. Every time I get behind the wheel of the car, I haven't even left the driveway, and I am tense and calling people fuckbags and yelling at all the people around to stop gawking those lazy jobless shits. Fucking daycares, man. Knew I had anger issues when I threw a tantrum because my Wi-Fi signal was weak and couldn't handle my epic Netflix binge. I mean, who needs therapy when you have a router to blame for all your problems, right? When my filters faded and I stopped suppressing the urge to curse people out, I lost all patience, and it started getting worse. Started indoor bouldering, meditating, and practicing self-control to fix. I still can't let go of the hatred of the man who abused me as a kid, and it's been almost 20 years. I'm almost hoping there's an afterlife just so I can haunt the shit out of that motherfucker. Do you guys feel like you can come from family? Because I'm really the opposite of my family members. Try to calm the situation, but there's times where I get like certain anger out of nowhere. It was the only emotion I could feel. I was never happy, I was never sad. I was just angry. I started consciously asking myself what emotion I was masking, and that helped a lot. I punch kick objects when I bump into them. I also get very violent images in my brain of strangling people when I'm angry with them, even my loved ones. It alarms me afterwards. When I was much younger, I lost a good jobs because I screamed at my co-workers and threw things. I've come a long way since then and can control it. IDK, maybe you guys feel me specially, man. Sometimes there's building up a lot of anger inside me, and then I just punch a wall door and I feel better. I reply rudely to every conversation in the house. I'm not physically rude, my tongue is just that rotten. I'm trying to be better though. I have severe PTSD diagnosed, and anger is a safety mechanism for me. So if I'm provoked in public, things might get really heated. I was saddled with the moniker Surly Jason in 1997. I wouldn't have lasted a week as an M if I weren't doing MMA at the same time. When I started fantasizing of people's deaths in school senior year almost every day, till I left the school, they pissed me off a lot. When I was arrested for domestic assault, I never thought of myself as having anger issues. But looking back, I really always have. I live in South Africa. Slow internet and high ping on games like League of Legends really push your temper gauge as a teenager. When I met my first narcissist and was screaming at the top of my lungs during an argument, it's so frustrating. When I don't get enough sleep, I'm fine if I get enough sleep. Interrupt my sleep, I will scar you for life. Maybe not very bad, but certainly learned when I argue I say mean hateful shit and call names out of anger. When I started screaming and got absolutely no reaction from my mother and sister like it was normal. When I was more worried about someone else's multi-million-dollar company than my own well-being. When I fractured another kid's skull on the pavement at recess for calling me fat. 6th grade, when I punched a hole in my wall for not finding my glasses when I was wearing them. When I started reacting like my dad after any minor inconvenience law. So this one time I was in the violent offender program in prison and playing video games. I cannot believe how bad my anger issues were.